Cool. Hello. Welcome to today's chill coloring session. And I finished the one I started last week on my own. And sorry I didn't film it, but sometimes I just like to do my own thing. But anyway, I did this one and I love how it came out. It's like a moonlit, low light. So I just used blue and green, and it feels magical and beautiful. So I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. It was a lot of fun. So that's that one. And then the one I did before was this one. Sorry, I bonked the camera there, which I love too. And I am coloring in Coloring Book of Shadows Moon Magic by me, Amy Chesery. And if this is your first time joining me, welcome. These are chill coloring sessions, or we try to be as chill as possible, which means just having a space to relax, enjoy art, and not put expectations on ourselves if we can help it. I do my best. I usually am very chill. Every once in a while I get stressed or don't like my coloring, but that's very natural. Although the more you practice, just kind of letting it go and allowing yourself to make mistakes or just to go with the flow. That's what this is all about. Usually they're instruction free. Sometimes I kind of talk about what I'm doing, and but I don't, it's not like you can follow along with me, but really do your own thing. You can just color any page, any book, any colors. So today I have a new page in Moon Magic, and I was just craving, it's actually a 2-page spread. I was craving hot pink. Like I just wanted to look at pink. So I'm going to do pink as my main color here. And I found a color scheme on Pinterest that used like some coral oranges and teal and blue and purple. So these are the markers that I pulled out. And then using markers. Yes, of course they bleed through. Markers bleed unless the paper is like, well, even cardstock or watercolor paper, it'll probably bleed through. So use a single-sided book and always put scrap paper underneath. So that's what this looks like. This is bleed. This is the back side of the page. And if I didn't put paper underneath, it would have bled through. So even where I kind of was lazy, you see a little bit of bleed through, or I let the paper slip or was lazy. So it's really important to put paper underneath. That said, markers are awesome for thinner paper because the alcohol markers, the point of them is they dry really fast. They're a wetter medium, so they do bleed through, but once they dry, they're dry. So you can layer them. They work great on thin paper, and they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun. Hi, Tony and Ramadan. How are you? Okay, so just gonna start. Feel free to ask me questions if you like. Hi, Tina. No, I pulled a fast one on you. I finished that one on my own. But I posted some pictures of it. You can finish it. I posted a reel and some pictures of it so you can see what I did. I'll show you again. I'm sorry. Sometimes I just really need to do my own thing and just get inspired. So I used like kind of a pistachio green color to do everything else on the page, and like a grayish blue. And then the blue is too bright, so I used like a gray blue to tone it down a little bit. And then I used like a pistachio green to fill in everything else. And then I splattered white or silver to make like stars. So that's how I finished that one up. I know I said I was going to finish it, but then I said I was going to finish it live, but I got inspired and just did it on my own. So I apologize for that. But hi, Patty. So I'm starting new with pink. And yeah, I just wanted to see pink today. So here I go. And I do have a little bit of blue bleed through here because I was very messy. Like I was not careful with my previous page with the backing. Hi, Lenore. It does look awesome. I'm stoked on that one. I really was trying to go for like a low light look, like, you know, when you're under the moonlight. That was my jam. And this is just for fun. Like there's a little bleed through. I don't really, doesn't bother me personally. Also, this is interesting since there's very small illustrations on the back side of the page here. When the marker is wet, you can see it through the back, but then once it dries, you don't see the ink anymore, or you don't see what's on the other side anymore. So markers in general sometimes look a little messy until they dry. There's like some unevenness. Like I don't worry about getting it too even. Like even enough is fine for me. Again, this is just for fun, to relax. To enjoy. Yeah, I know doing this in hot pink is going to be, it's going to be bright. Sort of the opposite of what I did on the previous page. Like I did that one to be like low light, like moonlit. And this one is going to be like bright, like extra light. I have not tried the Zig markers yet, Patty. What do you like about them? I sort of get hooked on one thing and then it's hard for me to change directions, to be quite honest. I kind of just stick with, once I get used to something, I don't try a lot of new stuff. Which is just, I don't know. Can be good, can be kind of stifling, I guess. I do get stuck in my ways in a bit. Until I change directions and then I completely change directions. Ask my husband about my cooking. I really make the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over until I get totally tired of it and then I make something completely new. Hello, Sherry Woods. Yes, the falafel stage of my life. I thought it was awesome. I was making falafels. Oh my God, I made so many falafels. I thought it was wonderful, but I think my husband got a little tired of falafels after a while. I need to get back into that. Sometimes I would use the mix, like the dry mix you get at Trader Joe's, but then also I would make my own The best way to make falafels is, I mean, the tastiest way, I think, is when you make them from scratch. Because you like blend up the chickpeas and all the, or garbanzo, I don't know what you call them. I think they're called both. And then all the fresh herbs. So good. You can put like extra herbs. I can't remember. Herbs. Herbs, as we Americans say. And I think it's parsley. Is it parsley? Can't remember, but they're so flavorful when you make them from scratch. And they're like bright green if you use fresh herbs. Wiccan Path 2019. Hello. How are you? How you been? Okay. Wow, that looks so pink and glorious. Absolutely love it. I missed you too, but it's okay. Chickpea in a dry form and garbanzo when in wet stuff. Oh my God, what great information. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, so sometimes, oh, they blend. Okay, sorry. I'm answering two questions or two comments at once. Yes, sometimes I notice when people disappear and you go offline or you're not around anymore, and I totally understand. It's no hard feelings, of course. But sometimes I do notice, and I'm like, oh, they haven't been around in a while. And it's totally fine. Some people come back, some people don't. And it's just the way it goes. I certainly have my crafts and hobbies and stuff that I put aside, and it doesn't mean I didn't love them in the moment. It doesn't mean I still don't love them. I'm talking to you, trunk full of crochet yarn and supplies. But I know how it is, so no worries if you ever disappear from the coloring world or the magic world for a little while. I know how life is. And oh, Patty says the zig markers blend very easily. But then Ashford mentions that they might be water-based, which can be fun, but water-based definitely need a thicker paper. So like print it out on something heavier from what I've experienced. So like, as I said in the beginning, the nice thing about alcohol markers is you can use a really thin paper. I actually really love how they work on thin paper. I think it's something about the texture. I don't know what it is, but I like it. When it dries, just the texture of the thin paper, like all fully coated, I don't know. Something about it in person, I really like it. But water-based markers are much wetter and they don't blend as well or at all. Like you'll tear up your paper unless you have a real heavy paper. Alcohol markers also don't warp the paper. So I can coat this and blend it, and it's a thin paper. I can coat it and blend it, and it won't warp. But I used just a little bit of metallic watercolor on my previous page, and just a tiny bit of moisture really started to warp. The tiniest bit of moisture really started to warp the paper, I noticed. So that's a big difference between alcohol markers and water-based ones. But I think waters do blend real nice because like it's more like a watercolor, yeah. But the ones I'm using, Ohuhu markers. Ohuhu markers, they also make a water-based. These are alcohol-based. So when you order them, just make sure you know what you're getting and why if you order them. And then Wiccan Path 2019 asks if I use the blender pen. Sometimes I do for really small things. Yeah, I use it usually to blend out to white. Like if I wanted to blend like a light color out to white, I use the blender pen to do that, or smooth something out. But like I'll do it in a minute here. I will demonstrate. Zigs don't warp the paper, Patty. Is that what you're saying? That's nice. I think it really just depends how much ink versus how much water is in the mix. But I like alcohols because you don't have to really worry about the paper. You can just kind of color on whatever. They probably would work even better on like a true marker paper, but it's nice to just be able to go right in the book. But I'm glad you are enjoying your Zig markers, Patty. That's nice. Tina likes the blender pen to make texture. Like what kind of textures? Like what do you do? Okay, so I'm going to show you how I use the blender. So this actually looks fine. Like I did a pretty good job of keeping it light towards the edge. But then if I get my colorless blender, see how like up top here is kind of a heavy, like a thicker, it's not a very smooth gradient between white and color. You can use your handy little blender pen. I tend to like it most on lighter colors and blending out to white, as I said, but you can blend darker colors with it too. It gives a wet look. See how it's like almost turning blue a little bit? It kind of gives you got to let it dry. It kind of can look a little bit, oh, like what did I do? But once it dries, it looks fine. So you can see it's kind of blurring out that hard edge there. It's basically just alcohol. I think you could do the same with like rubbing alcohol on a Q-tip. Yeah. So then let's let that dry for a minute and we'll see how it looks. See, it's still wet. It's got kind of like a wettish blue look to it a little bit. But I'll do the same on these, like leaving that white edge to give it a little bit of a glow. This is fun. I'm loving these colors. Oop, almost used a hot pink instead of a colorless. That would have been interesting. Oh, so you make it look marbleized. And yes, I'm sorry, I can't see who said that, but you can use colored pencils over it. You can use colored pencils over markers. I have yet to try that, but I've seen other people do it. It looks great. Been meaning to. So yeah, now this is the colorless, just to smooth out that edge a little bit. Cool, see? Now those look nice. And then I also had mostly for this big central moon. I had some slightly darker colors that I wanted to use just to give it even more. I know moons are mostly white or pretty bright, but thought just to give it a little bit of interest, I'd darken the center a little bit. And then I can use the blender to blend it out even more. Cool. So that is looking delightful, and it was a lot of fun. Obviously not done yet, and I have to do the whole same thing on this other side here. But I think for today I will leave it. Oh yeah, and I have even one darker hot pink, which I might use around the background, might not. And I'm going to cut it at 20 minutes today because I have work to do. These books, the Bold and Easy Pocket Grimoire series, is coming out on Tuesday, and I'm still not finished with all my marketing work. There's 3 of them. They're super, super cute. And I still have some work to do, so I gotta go do that. And I'll see you next week. So thanks for joining me. That was a lot of fun. I hope you had a good time.